The new judge in YNW Melly's case is assisting Melly in getting out of jail. According to a recent report, Judge Fye is known for being the most impartial judge in Florida, which is ideal for YNW Melly, who has been mistreated and exploited in the legal system thus far. This is extremely true, as he was even shocked when reading YNW Melly's file. It says, Melly has to make an informed decision about who he wants his lawyers to be. He's now sitting in our jail for 2,159 days, the judge said, sounding surprised. How long would it take for Mr. Dion's to be able to make an educated choice concerning his attorneys? He has been incarcerated in our facility for 2,159 days. The PR chief office will decide when the investigation is over, but as I said, I may ask for at least a day or two to make a decision by tomorrow. I've also set aside all of tomorrow for the judge. It's hard to fathom that YNW Melly, the Florida rapper who gained national attention with hits like Murder on My Mind, has been sitting in jail for an astounding 2,161 days, as of this recording, with no conviction to his name. The weight of his continued incarceration has prompted significant questions about the legal system and the treatment he's receiving, especially given that his case has been delayed time and time again. What makes the situation even more puzzling and frustrating is that his legal team has pushed back against the prosecution, demanding clarity and action. In one of the latest developments in the case, Melly's legal defense has become even more complicated. His defense attorney, Raven Liberty, is now under investigation for witness tampering, which has led to a further delay in the case. Liberty, who has been representing the rapper in his ongoing battle to avoid a conviction, is now embroiled in allegations that could potentially complicate the case even further. However, the oddity of this investigation raises eyebrows. No one seems to know for sure whether the investigation is real or if it's just a tactic being used by the prosecution to further delay the trial. Some speculate that the prosecutor might be fabricating this narrative to manipulate the situation and prevent Melly from being released, an accusation that, if true, could be considered highly illegal. The possibility of this being a deliberate ploy to delay justice is not only concerning, but could also be seen as an abuse of power within the legal system. This brings us to an intense moment during the court proceedings when one of Melly's lawyers stood before the judge and made a powerful statement. In a move that seemed both assertive and desperate, the lawyer challenged the judge directly, demanding that the prosecutors provide a solid, final argument as to why Melly should not be granted a bond. The lawyer argued that, without a valid reason, Melly should be released on bond, as he has not been convicted of any crime, and the case has dragged on far too long without resolution. The message was clear. If the prosecution cannot provide any legitimate reason for his continued incarceration, it was time for the rapper to be released and allowed to post bond. A particularly poignant moment in this ongoing saga came during an emotional interview with Melly's mother. In her statement, she expressed her disbelief and deep frustration over the treatment of her son while he's been behind bars. According to her, Melly has not been allowed to use the phone or even access his own mail for the entire 2,160 days he has spent in jail. This is despite the fact that other inmates, even those convicted of serious crimes, are allowed these basic rights. Her claim paints a disturbing picture of the conditions Melly has been enduring, which seem to be in stark contrast to the rights typically afforded to prisoners, even in the most severe cases. Her testimony adds another layer of complexity to the case. She emphasized that her son has never been found guilty of anything, yet he's been subjected to treatment that seems to be reserved for the most dangerous offenders. The lack of communication with his family and loved ones has undoubtedly been a source of emotional pain for Melly, especially considering the length of his time behind bars without a conviction. Her impassioned plea raises fundamental questions about fairness and justice within the legal system. If someone has not been convicted of a crime, should they be treated as though they've already been sentenced? This is a question that has been at the heart of the growing controversy surrounding Melly's case. While some may argue that he should remain in jail due to the severity of the charges against him, others, like his defense team and his mother, believe that the prolonged detention without a verdict or conviction is an abuse of power. The developments in this case continue to unfold, and with each passing day, the sense of urgency grows. As Melly's lawyers push for his release, and the case faces more delays, the public continues to watch closely. In the end, the case represents more than just the fate of one rapper. It highlights larger issues with the criminal justice system, the treatment of those awaiting trial, and the potential for manipulation within the courts. Whether or not Melly will be granted bond remains uncertain, but his prolonged stay in jail without a conviction is a glaring reminder of the systemic issues that plague the legal system today. They also hold his mail and refuse to give it to him. Jamie King has stated that she is heartbroken for her son and feels helpless because he isn't even being treated like a human inside a jail. When you saw Melly's statement about how he's been hurt and how he's afraid for his life as a mother, it was heartbreaking and left me feeling completely powerless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they needed to answer to someone too. However, to Melly's chances of release, his lawyers brought up this evidence from the original trial, where Melly was texting his ex-girlfriend in real time when the crime was going down, showing that he was technically running away from somebody on the street, and he was texting her in real time. That would be the part of me saying that someone, just as she was getting the car up. I was trying to shoot him, so I asked him if he was okay where he was, and he's like, there's a car coming behind him, like hiding. He was like, there's some. I think they're still out here or something. So I'm like, are you okay? He's like, I'm eating. I asked, well, where are Sack and Jew? And he replied, I don't know if they're in the car, but I think they are. They would even support this by presenting GPS evidence of tracking YNW Melly's phone, which showed that he was seen driving down a street and nearly hiding into a bush. Additionally, during the YNW Melly trial, prosecutors admitted that no firearm was found. So the first thing is that I didn't have one, so I can use it in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for foration, because I don't know what. Charleston White would then react by sharing that YNW Melly should be living like this, without a phone or even male privileges, since he allegedly committed one of the worst crimes that you could ever commit. I'm so happy he in jail get mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a mothering thing, about being mistreated, when you done trost the play somebody, even leading into boy going on to speak about the stress that his mother's been going through, as his own mom had very similar experiences to YNW Melly. She was Cheryl Broy. You know Cheryl, she's stressed? I heard she had, Cheryl, and I reached my hand out to him, cuz I reached out to him, bro. I met this moment, she good woman. But the feds would retaliate by creating a 6-page evidence file, explaining the reasons why YNW Melly should not be released from jail. And again, you tell me if you would release them after hearing. It tastes they would begin with the new charges that Melly and Borland are now facing, as broadcasted on the local news filing. 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a 2-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction, as YNW Juv's father would end up exposing how Melly and Borland were witness tampering, and even what code words they used to make Melly's ex-girlfriend not testify against them in the original trial. There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people. And then this person's calling this person. And then that person liked to make going through extreme measures, try to cover up or convince people not to testify. Like Mariah mom, they was using cold words like Rihanna, and I said Rocket's baby mom, and as these were connected to YWB Orland's massive mistake Borland's house was raided by the feds, and they found insane paperwork that was stuffed into a suitcase hidden away in a close to where Borland drew it on a piece of paper, where all the jurors in Melly's original trial were sitting and what they looked like. Report would read here are the images of alleged notes discovered during the home raid of YNW Borland's home last week, as filed into the Broward clerks, as Portland draws out where jurors were sitting with a description of what they looked like. Melly's co-defendant. And we have confirmed that Portland was arrested on Monday night in a Miami jail on an out-of-county warrant for witness tampering. The warrant, which was obtained by La Creme Network, states the following. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, County. The warrant is still pending because Henry, also known as Borton, and others intentionally and unlawfully engaged in deceptive behavior toward another individual with the goal of causing or influencing them to withhold testimony. The alleged witness was called by the legal system to the jury trial of J.L. Demons, also known as YNW. The legal saga surrounding YNW Melly continues to captivate the public, as his case takes a series of unexpected turns. The details in the latest warrant are crucial in understanding just how messy the situation has become. Jury selection for Melly's trial began in mid-April, but by July 22nd, things took a dramatic shift. On that very day, a judge declared a mistrial, a decision that sent shockwaves through the legal community. This was no ordinary mistrial, however. The warrant revealed that Borland, one of the key figures in the case, was allegedly involved in witness tampering, a crime that is taken very seriously in the legal system. This is especially alarming, considering that all jurors are meant to be kept confidential throughout the trial process. The breach of this confidentiality is a direct violation of the law and raises major concerns about the integrity of the entire trial. To fully grasp the gravity of the situation, let's take a moment to examine the reaction of DJ Akademiks, a prominent figure in the hip-hop community who has been closely following the case. In his trademark candid style, Akademiks responded to the news, and his reaction was as blunt as it was critical. "This is sloppy Portland. How the hell are you going to have the notebook of the jurors in your house?" Akademiks said, expressing his disbelief at the alleged actions. "It's like doing a crime and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. How are you going to be caught red-handed like that?" His comparison highlighted just how serious the situation is. The thought of tampering with a jury, let alone keeping their information at home, is a colossal mistake in any legal proceeding. To Akademiks, it's like setting yourself up for failure, and it's hard to argue with his point. The mishandling of such crucial information not only jeopardizes Melly's case, but also undermines the fairness of the entire judicial process. As the retrial of YNW Melly is set to take place more than a year after the initial trial, the prosecutor's investigation into the rapper's connections has continued to evolve. One of the more significant revelations to come from these ongoing investigations involves Melly's close relationship with the late King Von, another rapper who was tragically killed before Melly's arrest. According to the investigation, Melly and King Von were not just acquaintances, but good friends. In fact, they had several deep conversations, one of which allegedly centered around a situation involving Melly's two best friends, Zach Jaser and Juvie. The story goes that Melly confided in King Von, seeking advice on how to handle a difficult predicament. Melly was reportedly concerned that his two closest friends were coming after him for financial reasons, and he wasn't sure how to navigate this betrayal. The details of this conversation were revealed by a member of O Block, the Chicago-based gang that King Von was affiliated with. The informant claimed that Melly had confided in Von, telling him that his two friends were after him and that their relationship was falling apart due to financial motives. While the exact wording of the conversation remains unclear, it's said that Melly expressed his frustration with his friends and asked Von for guidance. In a cryptic way, the source suggested that Melly did not outright accuse his friends of betrayal, but hinted at it. "Once I posted what I posted, Von was mad at me, bro. Why'd you put that there?" "Why?" the source recalled Melly saying. This conversation could be critical in understanding Melly's mindset leading up to the events that led to his arrest. The implication here is that Melly's relationship with his friends might have been more complicated than initially believed. It's one thing to be close with friends, but when money and fame come into play,